These two athletes had an incredible 2019, and their 2020 was ramping up to be the same. BVCA Champions, AVP Hermosa Beach Quarterfinalists, high school national champions, fourth place finish of their first FIVB event, and now they're heading over to USC. Did I mention that they're only 17 and 18 years old? Next on the Viral Volley Podcast. Hey, good day, everyone. I'm Rob Sparrow for the Viral Volley Podcast. I have two very special ladies here on the screen with me. Join me on the podcast. Don't know where they're going to be situated on the actual video, but we have Delaynie Maple and Megan Kraft, both USC. Actually, can I say not commits anymore? Actually, you're now going there because you officially graduated from Torrey Pines High School. So, ladies, thanks for joining me from your home in San Diego or Del Mar, California today on the Viral Volley Podcast.
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Well, you guys look great. And obviously, you're just coming off of your high school graduation just a few days ago. Let's talk about this last year that you guys had. But, you know, one of the most basic questions I have to get out there is, how long have you guys been playing volleyball, and when did you guys connect to play together? And we'll go with Delaynie first.
Okay. I've been playing indoors since I was in third grade, so I was about 10 years old. And then I used to live in Temecula, so I played in a local club there for a few years. And then I started commuting down to Wave, and I started beach volleyball when I started playing for Wave in about sixth grade. So I think I was about 13 or so. And the second I started playing beach, I kind of knew that was the route I wanted to go, but I kept playing indoor for a few years. But I've been playing volleyball in a whole for about 10 years. And then I started playing with Meg. We started playing together sophomore year, just like a few tournaments, and then we really became partners probably about like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I started indoor when I was in like second grade. I just started on like a grass court next to my house. And then when I was 11, I went to Coast and played a few years indoor there. And then I started playing beach at Coast too. And I didn't go full beach until my freshman year. And then I was able to commit to USC. And then that's kind of when Delaney and I found each other. So like end of freshman year, beginning of sophomore year, we started playing, and we really liked playing with each other. So we kind of started it up a couple of months after that.
That is crazy, because if you put things in perspective, you guys have literally only been playing together 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And you guys have dialed in and just have a really great chemistry together. Now, do you ever feel like you spend too much time with each other?
Honestly, no. And it's weird because I honestly cannot tell you the last day I haven't seen her. Like, I almost see her every day of the week, but I never get sick of her ever.
It works very well.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity and the honor of meeting both of you last year at the BVCA Club National Championships in Hermosa Beach. And from a club junior standpoint, you two were unstoppable. I worked one court streaming for P1440, and I had seen the other team you played in the final, and they were, in my eyes, unstoppable. But I hadn't seen the court that you were playing on as a team, and you came into the final and beat them pretty handily. Now, what has brought your level of play to where it's at, being as young as both of you are? And we'll go with Megan on this one.
Yeah, I think our coaches at Wave, especially Coach Mike, he spent so many extra hours with us, like helping us hone in on every skill. Like, he's super technical, super detailed in like what he wants us to work on. So it's super helpful when we get into the competition side of things, because we can kind of take what we practiced with him and like the extra hours of practice that he put in, and like know that we know how to do the skill that we need to do, and like be confident in ourselves and just focus on our side, and know that like all the work he's helped us do, like we're confident in our skills that we can like execute it in the match. And I think that helped us a lot in BVCA, just to kind of like focus on our side and like know that we had what it take to like win, and just had to be confident in what we can do.
How about you, Delaney? Anything to add?
Yeah, I think Wave has had our back from day one, and they've given us so much support. And I think BVCA is always a special tournament just because it's so club oriented. And so I think not only do we want to like do that for ourselves, but we wanted to kind of do it for our club, just because they've done so much for us, between like putting in extra hours with us after or before practice. And they've just done pretty much like all we could ever ask for. And so that one just always tournament, just because you're kind of doing your best to kind of give back to them. But yeah, they've helped us so much between like playing volleyball and weights and everything out of it. They're awesome.
Now, up until that BVCA National Championship, what was the club junior season like for both of you? Were you on a winning trend? Had you drop a match or a set for that matter? Because it seemed like the level of play that you were playing at when I saw you at Hermosa Beach was unreachable. Like people were having so much difficulty playing against both of you just because of your chemistry and your physical ability. And we'll go with Megan.
Yeah, we played a few USAB tournaments like in March and April, and that was kind of like really the only youth tournaments we did. And then we did a lot of women's opens in those months as well. And we just really like playing in women's opens because the competition's like so good, and you're playing against these really high level players. And it's good to it's good to challenge ourselves, and like we would lose games, but it would help us know what we needed to work on. So we really liked the challenge. And I think that helped us kind of go into BVCA feeling confident that like we've played some really good teams and we can hang with them. So we know that we can do it, and it helped with our success, I think.
Yeah, for sure. How about you? Anything to add, Delaney?
Yeah, I think also we played a lot of women's tournaments, and I think the different way of playing is super different when you're playing women and girls. It's definitely more like when you're playing the women's tournaments, it's a lot more aggressive and swings, where like if we're playing juniors tournaments, it's a lot more shots and like scrappy ball. And so I think I give a lot of credit to our club as well, just because we're able to play some of the top level junior athletes over there too. So I think just playing in those practices, and they totally helped us prepare for that. But we definitely almost had to make like this little mental switch, just because it's also a lot of pressure when you're going from these women's tournaments, and we were doing pretty well in them, and then you go back to the juniors tournaments, you're like, all right, we gotta show that like we're also a top junior team, which is kind of stressful. But once we start playing together, I feel like we always create stress in our head right before, and then the second we start playing, it all kind of goes away, and we just kind of do our thing, which has been really fun this past summer.
Well, I mean, it seems like with the relationship that you two have, it seems easy to shake off those jitters pretty quickly just because you have that comfortability level. So, and it's really cool to see that dynamic from an outsider and fan perspective. So great on you guys that you've got that part dialed in, which makes it easier to adjust to those different circumstances and situations.
Yeah.
So let's go 2 weeks a little bit later into the summer. You guys play through the qualifiers of the Hermosa Beach Open, and the competition you had technically were not at all easy. And you had, Emily Hartong, Gina Urango, Brittany Howard, Alexa Strange, Amanda Dowdy, Corinne Quiggle, then Kenzie Punnett, Sheila Shaw, and eventually Chrissy Jones and Zana Muno. What was it like for you two being the youth? I mean, if I remember correctly, you were the youngest tandem that was on that bracket board, and I was following through the qualifiers. What was it like for both of you to go through that? And we'll go with Delaney.
It was crazy, and I think we're both super thankful for that opportunity. I think we both knew going into it that we had nothing to lose. We were the wild card. We were the really young team, and like if we lost both games that day, no one would have, like, we were supposed to. And so I think that's why we did really well that day, and we played some of our best volleyball, is because we just went into it just thinking we have nothing to lose. Let's try new things. Let's change up things that we don't normally do. And I think that's why we just had so much fun, is we ended up changing things up and being successful, and we just were having a blast, and we had all our friends and family there. And it was honestly the most fun few days of my whole life.
How about you, Megan?
Yeah, I agree. We kind of went in not expecting too much. We knew that we were playing like really, really good teams, really talented players. And we were honestly just super excited to like get the chance to compete against them, because you normally don't get to play them in every Saturday tournament. So it was super cool. We kind of just wanted to focus on just us and see what we could do instead of focusing on who was on the other side of the net, and kind of just keep our emotions calm and not let us get overwhelmed by that. And I think we did a good job, and that helped us stay calm and just have fun. Like we had a lot of fun that weekend, even if it was a close game, if it wasn't a close game, like we were just enjoying every moment out there, which was really a good time to do it with Delaney by my side.
See, me being the old school guy that, man, I would have seen you guys in my bracket, like, oh, it's the youngsters, we'll crush them. But and it was, you guys definitely battled through the qualifiers in such a very efficient and powerful way. So let's go deeper into the tournament, I mean, you're 16, 17 years old. You just finished your junior year in high school, and you are playing in stadium court not once but twice. What is that experience for the both of you like? I mean, having literally thousands of people, and you had some of the most entertaining matches I can remember that weekend. So let's start with Delaney.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever had that much adrenaline in my body. Like, there's so much noise and like you're coming up with scenarios in your head, and it was just like a lot going on. But I think once we got into the players box, we kind of sat down and like I looked at Meg and I was like, okay, it's gonna be fine. Like once we step out on the court, I think we kind of block everything out. Like we would go back and watch film and we'd hear all these different things being yelled down, but I honestly didn't hear anything. I feel like when I go out there, like we both just try our best to kind of block it all out, because I know if we start looking around or if we start listening, we'll kind of get a little frazzled. So honestly, but after every match, I would like kind of look up and take it in, and it was the coolest thing I've honestly ever done. It was like the most positive impact from everyone around there. It was super cool.
How about you, Megan?
Yeah, I agree. It was surreal to like walk on there with our backpacks and get to like set up in the player box. Like we were like, wow, this is really happening. And it was we were definitely nervous before. Like I remember being so anxious, but when we walked out there and started warming up, it all kind of went away, and I was so excited to play in front of all those people. And even after we lost to Sheila and Kenzie, I remember like Coach Mike, like we were pretty bummed, you know, it was a close game. We wanted to win it, but like we competed hard, and he told us to just like stop thinking about volleyball and just like look around and see all the people. And I just remember that moment, like in my head, like looking back on that was like the main thing I remember, because he like made us stop and look around, like see how many people were watching us and cheering for us. And it was really cool to see.
That's wise counsel. I mean, I came across Mike in the players box after you guys lost, and he had the biggest smile. He couldn't have been more proud of you guys, taking it in with you guys. I think he had more fun watching you guys respond to your situation and the atmosphere around you, because, you know, the fact of the matter is that match against Chrissy and Zana was such an entertaining match. And I know that, not to rub it in or bring back potentially bad memory, you're up 14-11, and you were so close to taking that third set tiebreak.
Yeah.
But Chrissy just went on an insane blocking run, which was so typical of her.
Yeah.
I mean, the crowd was so torn who to pull for, because both were so exciting, and both were kind of like the new faces of the AVP coming up. I mean, you haven't been to college yet, but I mean, people were following you there. I Googled your names prior to the event, and all the articles were focusing on, hey, check out these youngsters, the young guns coming up through the AVP Hermosa Beach. So you guys had a great run at that tournament. Let me ask you guys this. Before this last year, your best finish was a 49th. Was it Manhattan, if my notes are correct, in 2018?
Yeah.
And you jump all the way up to 5th place this year. I mean, what are your thoughts about such an accomplishment? I mean, I know obviously you want to go for the top spot, but that's quite a jump. We'll go with Delaney on this one.
I think in the moment when everything was kind of happening, we didn't really know how to feel, because we really didn't expect it. And I think when that last game, when we did end up losing that super close game, we both were super hard on ourselves, and we knew that we were so close, and it was definitely a heartbreaker. But like Mike said, he helped us so much in the box, and he kind of just had us like sit there, just be like, take it all in. Like, this is an experience you guys really shouldn't be feeling right now. And you're here and you should be. So I think after that, it was just kind of almost like a relieving feeling, just knowing that we were working so hard that past year. I honestly don't think I don't think we've ever worked that hard in such a period of time those past months, like before the tournament. So it was kind of just nice knowing that like everything we were doing, like between all the extra hours and the extra stuff we were doing, like it was all paying off in the moment. And it kind of was a thing going into the high school season. That next month, we kind of kept using that almost as like, you work so hard for that, so let's keep working, let's keep moving it into like all the next tournaments.
Yeah. How about you, Megan?
Yeah, I agree. I think we just put a lot of extra work in the weight room and on the court with Wave. And it was like rewarding to see that the work that we were putting in like paid off, you know, even though we're disappointed with the result. Like looking back on it, we're like super proud of ourselves in the end, and really thankful for Wave and Mike supporting us the whole weekend, and all our friends and family that came out. Like, looking back on it, it was an experience that we'll probably never get again, at least recent in the future. So,
Well, given the pandemic, that's the only thing that
yeah.
can stop you guys right now is the pandemic.
But yeah, it was super cool. It was rewarding, and it was a really cool time to be there with Delaynie, and I'm just really grateful that we had the chance to do it.
Well, I'm sure after that Survival Saturday performance, you guys won over a lot of fans. I'm sure your social media just blew up from people wanting to follow your careers and looking all over the news for your stuff.
Mhm.
Let's shift over to the indoor game. Now, obviously, I work across different surfaces, as do both of you, apparently, because at the Durango Fall Classic in September, I was shocked to see both of you playing there for Torrey Pines High School and Coach Brennan Dean. You guys, I think it ends up being an equivalent fifth, but you got the gold medal in the silver division in a very loaded, talented field, between Assumption, Modern Day, Redondo Union, and honestly, Torrey Pines. You guys are my dark horse pick from day one without knowing that you guys were on the team. I didn't connect that, but you guys had an incredible performance at that Durango tournament and early on in the season, with huge upsets of, I believe, is a Redondo at your place. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So we'll start with Megan on this one. What did you feel about the start of the season, your indoor season, after coming off of such a high in the summer?
I think it was really cool to see that the team really came together that tournament. Like, Coach Brennan had us working really hard in practice. And I remember this season being pretty intense, like practicing and working on specific things. Like, he was drilling us down and getting us sharp. And I think even though we were disappointed with getting fifth, but of course we wanted to do better. But I think it was really early in the season, and it was like a really good jumping off point, because we used that loss to kind of be like, okay, what do we do wrong? What do we need to fix? And Brennan's a great coach, so he jumped on that really quickly, and we were back in the gym the next week working on everything we needed to get better at. And I think that was a big part of our success.
All right, Delaney, anything to add there?
Yeah, I think that tournament was a super big turning point for our team. I think going into that tournament, we wanted to do as well as we could. We were playing the best competition we played all season. And so we did get fifth, but I think our whole team knew that we could have done better and we wanted to do better. And when we left, we were definitely disappointed. So I think we kind of just used that for the rest of the season. And I think I could speak for a lot of people that I think if we didn't get fifth in that tournament, I don't know if we would have ended the high note that we did. I think we just used that, and we learned so much from that tournament between different offenses and different defense stuff that we were doing. So even though we didn't do as well as we hoped, I think it was a super big tournament for us. Just in like maturity wise, we ended up like taking that, and we used so much from that tournament in our next following practices just to get better and learn new things. Definitely.
What makes you two unique is you guys are coming off of a very successful beach season. Was the transition back to indoor easy enough for the both of you? Because I know what the coaches will say. I actually talked to Coach Dean before the tournament, and there was some concern there, but I'm not going to say with whom.
I think we know who it was.
We'll start with you, Megan.
Yeah, it was pretty hard. Just the approach timing, I think, was the hardest part, because in beach you jump straight up, and indoor you kind of want to broad jump a little more. And for me, like swing blocking, I never do that on the beach, and so I still would just like shuffle over and jump straight up, and Brennan's like, no, don't do that. I was like, I'm sorry, I need to fix it. But yeah, I would say that was the hardest part, but it came pretty easy. Like, we were able to work on it kind of in tryouts, because we knew like our team was kind of already set. Like, there were a few moving pieces, but we were just kind of getting back into the indoor side of things. And yeah, I mean, it took some time, but Brennan was super understanding, and he was like, it's okay, it's not going to come back in an instant. And it was honestly cool to go back to indoor for a few months and from the beach and take a little break, but still be playing volleyball. It was super cool.
Right. How about you, Delaney?
It was definitely tough for me going back. And I think I went into indoor just thinking like, okay, like I can just transfer everything back. Like, it won't be hard. It'll be fine. But those like first 3 weeks of August, I used to sit with Brennan, and he was like, your defense is so bad. He was like, what is going on? But we definitely, I think by the end of August, both of us finally got back into the indoor mode. But you kind of forget the little things like different defensive moves or your timing. We'd run different offenses. And for me, I didn't block at all of the beach season. And so I was finally blocking again. And I was like asking for people to tool me. Like it was really bad. But I think once we started playing our first tournament, we finally got back to it. And it was a little tough in the beginning, but I think Brennan's so supportive of us, and he definitely helped us a ton. Like he would stay after for a little bit just to like remind us little things. And it was tough in the beginning, but we figured it out.
Working on your technique and mechanics for indoor.
Yeah, definitely.
No, you can't do a jumbo in indoor.
I kept poking, and he was like, "You can't pokey." I would try and poke you over the block, and he was like, "That's the wrong sport." Yeah.
Well, you know what was unique about your team is although both of you are extremely talented, you had a great supporting cast that, I mean, virtually were no-namers. It beat, you know, your names overshadowing them, but your team was so talented.
Yeah.
Great attackers at every pin. Your setter was rock solid, and I didn't realize that they were all going to D1 schools as well. So you had a great supporting cast to make that transition easier.
Definitely. Sure.
So, Coach Dean can't be too disappointed with you guys, being that he did receive Coach of the Year, the first ever state championship, and the first ever national championship. Now, what is it? What does it feel like to be a part of that school's history and to be able to do something like that for Coach Dean? We'll go with Megan.
It was really, really something. It was an amazing thing to be a part of because the team, like, there was no star player, I think. Like, everyone was really, really solid. And even, like, the whole roster, all 18, 19 players, pushed each other in practice so hard. So even if they weren't starters, like, they definitely could have been starters on other teams. You know what I mean? Like, they were insanely talented players. So it just made, like, our starting lineup so much better with all those insanely talented practice players as well. And just the fact that, like, there's no star player, but everyone was really, really solid, and we could count on a bunch of different people in different times. So I think that was a big part of how we were so successful, because, like, if I wasn't doing so well one game, like Delaynie or Sophia Callahan would step up, or Carly Deal is an amazing setter, like Maya Satchel. I mean, we had, like, so many great hitters, really good libero. And I think that was a big part of staying steady the whole season. Like, we didn't have a lot of up and down. We kind of stayed smooth, and it was easy to win with a team that was so talented and everyone that was super supportive of each other and competitive at the same time and pushing each other to be better.
Awesome. Delaney, anything else to add?
Yeah, I think our chemistry was super big too. We ended up, I think, going into the season, we didn't really know what it was going to be like. We had a lot of new girls on the team, just having a lot of our starters graduate. And so that first practice, though, I think everyone just clicked super quickly. And the whole entire season, we didn't have any really drama go on. Like, we were all best friends. And I know we all looked forward to practice just so we could all, like, hang out with each other. And that was super cool. And I think that's why we just had so much support between, if it was girls on the bench or if it was girls playing. There was no one that was being negative. Like, everyone was so positive to each other. And it also helps when you have every other girl next to you are these top volleyball players. And I knew, like Meg said, if we were having an off game, someone else would step up. And I think that took a lot of pressure off of people, because they knew that they had the support of 5 other girls on that court. And they knew, like, if they weren't playing their best volleyball, someone else would step up and help them out. And everyone was super supportive of each other. And Carly honestly never had a bad game. Carly was setting dimes every single set, and so that helped so much. And we had awesome defense behind us and these top swing, like, hitters. It was awesome. It was such a cool season.
Well, as a former setter, I will say hitters are best because setters give the nectar and the butter. So you're welcome. And Carly, be sure to get this recorded statement and ask for some of the, the little kickbacks. Hey, let's jump on to more of an off-the-court issue. I'm going to see if I can get this working here really quick. But this last Christmas, you guys were given such a unique gift. Are you able to see the image that's on the screen there?
Yeah.
I didn't know who got this cool ball, but it's a artwork by Nick Arnitz, or Nicolette Martin, former Nicolette Martin. But who's the recipient of this unique gift here?
That was mine. Yeah.
Now, I imagine your parents got that custom made for you?
Yes, it was. I didn't know it was coming. Like, on Christmas Day, I was able to open it up. I was just so amazed that she could have drawn this on a round object and make it look like the same as the photo. And I love this photo because we're smiling and it just reminds me of the fun that we had. It could have been after a loss. I mean, it doesn't even matter, but it reminds me of the good time. And it was an amazing gift, and I'm really grateful for Nick and my parents for getting it for me.
So just for our listeners who don't have the benefit of the visual, it's a Wilson AVP volleyball, not the new kind, but the ones they were using last year. And Nick Arnitz does wonderful artwork on each of the balls, and it's the picture of Delaney and Megan. I believe you're hugging after this was the Survival Saturday match. I'm trying to decide. I can't remember what color bathing suit you're wearing in it. Or was that?
It was Saturday. Or no, it was Friday.
Friday. Okay. Yeah. But it's such a great gift. And so with that one being yours, Delaney, why don't you talk about your ball?
Yeah, that was my ball. We both opened it almost in like the same little span of time, and then we both texted each other and we're like, oh my gosh, did you get the ball? But it was the coolest thing. I have no idea how she was able to make every single little detail to like the people in the audience. It was the craziest thing. But I chose that, or my mom chose that picture because she knew it was my favorite, just because I think like in that moment, I kind of knew like, this is what I want to do with my life. Like, this is something that was such a cool experience. And I was like, this is what I want to keep doing. This is what I want to keep working towards. And like, I know I've never hugged Meg harder in my life, just because I was so happy that like she was next to me in that moment. And that's something I'll keep for the rest of my life.
Hey, Megan, I didn't get to ask you, but why did your parents choose this particular artwork for the ball?
Yeah, I remember my mom, like, we were going through the photos from the AVP a couple of weeks later, and she was like, which one do you like most, like, for a frame? And I was like, I think that one, but just because it shows like our friendship, and we're smiling. Like, it just reminds me of, I don't know, just playing with her and being happy, and like reminding me that volleyball is like what we want to do, and what we're both motivated to do it together. And it's just a good reminder that to like keep working hard, and that Delaney will always be there for me. And I just really liked that photo, and it was super cool that it was able to be recreated on the ball.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
So I went and rewatched the Amazon Prime Video, and I found that.
Yeah.
And just like, not really knowing of you that well at that point, I just knew that there is something special between you two, not only on the court, but off the court, because there was such a natural rhythmic balance between the both of you. That was very complimentary, that showed that you had such great court presence, and you were so synchronized in everything you did. But, I asked you earlier, what was it like playing in stadium court, especially when the crowd was so excited to see and watch you play? Anyone can take a stab.
I think it was honestly something that we'd both never really experienced, and we were playing two athletes who just came off of college careers as well, and so I think they
high school, right? You jumped.
Yeah.
Online
yeah,
college.
It was a little different because they Zana had a ton of her UCLA fans, and obviously Chrissy had a UW fans, and like it was super cool kind of seeing all of that support, knowing that that's what we're going to go into the next year. But it was crazy. And I think in that photo we just lost, but I knew that like we were both going to be super hard on each other, like on our own selves. But I think in that moment we just kind of knew like, this is something we both wanted to do. This is something we both wanted to do for the rest of our lives. And it was kind of just like a relief moment. Like, this was just a little taste of what we might be able to do in the future. Anything
to add, Megan?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I remember being like really bummed after losing this game, and Delaney was like she was right there to hug me and support me and say like, it's okay, you're fine, we're fine. And it was a big part of, it made me feel much better about the loss, because I knew I didn't play as well as I wanted to those last few points, but she was right there by me, and she was a stud the whole game. And I don't know, seeing this picture reminds me of like our friendship on and off the court, and it's a cool feeling to see again.
So touching and so special.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I said it earlier, Chrissy Jones just went ballistic. She went out of this world. And I'd seen her do it so many times at Cal Poly on the beach. Like, she just went on this solid 10-point blocking run. So
Yeah, she's
She was crazy. She's so good.
So with that, let's go into a little further in the. I guess we've gone chronologically through what's been happening here in your careers. Just in 2019, I mean, you guys had an incredible 2019, but also as we entered 2020, you played in your first FIVB event in Guam. I believe it was a 2-star. Delaney, why don't you talk about what that experience was like for you first, and we'll go over to Megan.
Yeah, so it was the Guam 1-star, but it was my first ever international tournament. Meg went to China the summer before, and so it was something I'd never really experienced, going to travel somewhere farther than California. But it was such an unreal experience just being able to go there, and we had a few other USA teams as well. So we never really known. We got to know Kim and Sarah really well, which was cool because we never really knew them before the tournament. And so we practiced with them the day before the tournament, and each day they were super supportive, and they always were kind of helping us because they've gone to other FIVB tournaments before. So they kind of took us under their wing and helped us. But overall, the people there were so nice and so supportive, and we got to meet new people from different countries. And Guam is so beautiful. It's one of the prettiest places I've ever seen in my life. But overall, it was super cool experience, and it definitely made me want to keep knowing that that's something I want to do. It was amazing.
How about you, Megan?
Yeah, we went in there kind of just wanting to have fun because, I mean, Guam was beautiful. Like when we practiced with Kim and Sarah the first day, we were like, wow, this is where we get to play volleyball for the next 2 days. It was really cool. And it was also just really cool to see there's a lot of Japan teams there because they're really close to Guam, so it was easy for them to go. But really, really talented players, and their style of play is so different than here in America. And it was really cool to kind of see what they were doing and learn from them also. And it made us want to play even more and watch other countries and see what they do and learn from them, because you can really learn a lot from their style of play, super scrappy, really, really smart and technical with how they play. So it was really cool to see that. And then having Kim and Sarah there to kind of guide us through and help us out, since it was our first one together, was really, really helpful. And we were super grateful for them being there and kind of being our friends there.
Well, you advanced to the bronze medal match, and in process, you'd taken down teams from Guam, fellow Americans, and then I think it was Japan that you ended up losing to. But not bad for a first year on international as a pair. 5-2 record. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more down the line here for you two. So I'll be definitely following that closely. But let's go back. Let's not make you adults too early. You're heading your way over to USC. And with recent graduation last week, what are your guys' thoughts about playing for such a high caliber coach as Dain Blanton at a perennial powerhouse like USC that have names like Sarah Hughes, Kelly Clays, Therese Cannon, Tina Gradina, Abril Bustamante, April Ross, Gina Rango. I mean, you guys are entering into this mystique of college volleyball or beach volleyball, the shrine of beach volleyball.
Yeah. I'm really, really excited to play for Dain. He's an amazing coach. We've done a few USC camps where he's been the head coach, so we've gotten to kind of see his style. I'm really excited to play for him, but I'm also really excited for the team. I think we're going to be really talented this next year because we have a few returning seniors and a few new transfers. And Delaney and I were actually talking about it the other day, driving home from a practice. We're like, wow, there's so many good players. Every single person on that team is one of the top players in their time, in their class. And every practice is going to be insane, competitive, intense, and you're fighting it out with your teammates, but also you're competing for spots. So if it's going to be hard to find a spot on that roster because they're so talented, but we're really excited to just train hard and do the best we can. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think we both committed pretty young, so we've kind of known for a while that we were going to go to SC. So it's almost now that we're actually going, it almost feels unreal because I just felt it's always been so far in the future, and now it's 2 months away. But I can't wait to play for Dain. He's amazing. And when we found out he was going to be the coach, we were in Hermosa. It was right after our first game. And I know we were both so happy because we played with him a little bit when he was the volunteer assistant, but we were so excited. And we've only heard good things from the girls there. We kind of know a few of the girls, and not only are they like amazing athletes, but they're super sweet girls. So I can't only wait to play for Dain, but also the team just seems so sweet and super amazing athletes. And like Meg said, the practices are going to be so awesome, and we both can't wait.
Well, Dain is so charismatic and such a great ambassador of the game, and he's so well liked by so many people. And it's easy to see why he's got a very infectious personality. And it's easy to get on board when it's someone that you truly enjoy and respect. Now, since seeing both of you last, obviously the COVID pandemic has halted any competition to participate in. How have both of you been staying on your game mentally and physically? And what are your coaches and other influential people telling you to do or encourage you to do? And we'll start with Delaynie.
When we both found out kind of when everything started to kind of crash a little bit, we were in Cincinnati for one of the AVP tournaments. And so when we flew home, that was when we kind of had a lockdown and quarantine. And I think for both of us, we didn't really know what to do. We've never been in that situation before, but both Mike and Matt helped a ton. They were sending out videos of us to like analyze, and we had like different little parks near our house that we could kind of pass and set, but we weren't really able to compete with anyone yet since everyone was in quarantine. But I think we both did a pretty good job of finding ways to stay fit and things. I know we both worked out every day. We tried to touch the volleyball every day. We'd watch film of, like Meg said, when we were in Guam, we kind of were watching different players from different countries. So I think we were trying to watch different games that we've never really watched before. We try and find random books, and it was tough. And I think we both didn't really know how to respond, but looking back at it, I think we both worked as hard as we could, and it was just kind of a situation we didn't really know how to get out of, but we definitely find ways to stay mentally and physically ready to keep going.
Right. How about you, Meg?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it was super helpful and kind of motivating for Mike and Matt to send us videos of other teams playing each other in FIVBs, like the top teams. So we were able to learn from them, watch them, and like analyze the match and get feedback from Mike again. So it helped me stay in kind of the volleyball mindset, like, okay, I want to compete. When can we compete? But it was cool. It was cool to learn from them. And I think like now that we can finally go back to practice, I've actually like picked up a few things that I've watched, and Mike's helped me like incorporate it into our practice. So it was actually kind of cool to learn some new things, but I'm excited to get back to competing. And it was definitely hard to take a break from volleyball, but it was good. Like we were able to work out and body weight stuff. I got better, stronger in different ways that I normally probably wouldn't have gotten stronger in. So it was, an experience, and I'm glad it's starting to wrap up, but it was, I think we dealt with it the best way we could, just like everyone else was trying to, and I'm just excited to get back.
Well, it's a great segue for the final formal question I have for both of you, but obviously these times we're going through I hate saying this term, it's said so many times, it's unprecedented times in history. And no one has ever had to go through this before, but what words of encouragement would both of you have for people of, I hate saying, making me sound old, your generation, to make it through these times? And, just whoever is ready to say something, just go and jump on.
I think the biggest thing for both of us is just trying to stay focused and kind of surrounding yourself with people that push you to be better. Thankfully, we both have parents that are super supportive of us and really make sure that we keep staying focused. And we both have brothers who keep us wanting to keep working out. And obviously, Meg, I think we both push each other as well. And so I honestly think, looking back at it, the thing that really kept me going was just surrounding myself with people who pushed me to be better, and not only a better athlete, but a better person, and just trying to find ways to keep improving myself. And so I think my biggest piece of advice, just looking back at it, and still, I guess we're still pretty much going through it as well right now, but just trying to surround yourself with people that are going to keep pushing you.
Excellent. How about you, Megan?
Yeah, I think during the quarantine, I've kind of learned to just kind of go with the flow and realize that there's definitely things you can't control, and worrying about controlling them won't get you anywhere. So kind of just do what you can do. And it's hard for me because I love having a routine, but just kind of making a new routine, going with it, and everything will turn out okay. It's better to be positive than negative. I always think that's a good way to live by. Just try to find the positive in things. So that's really helped me get through it. And I'm excited for things to start to go back to normal. But yeah, I'm just continuing to just try to go with things, roll with the punches, and hopefully get back to normalcy soon.
Excellent. Well, I think it's a good place to break right there before I get into a segment which I did not tell them about. But you're looking at Delaynie Maple and Megan Kraft. I was going to say of Torrey Pines High School, but they've graduated, so they are now of USC Beach. We'll be back in just a moment. Everyone, welcome back to the Viral Volley Podcast. I'm on with Delaynie Maple and Megan Kraft of USC Beach, formerly of Torrey Pines High School. Coach Brennan Dean, I got you, my bro. Hey, we're going to go into our rundown segment. The rundown segment is a quick question and a response from our interviewees, and they have to be ready for the next question because we're going to find out that other side, the off-court version of our personalities on the screen. So here's your first question. It's going to go Megan to Delaynie. What's your go-to song before a match or a duel?
Don't Stop Me Now by Queen.
All right. How about you, Delaynie?
If that's probably mine as well, or Mr. Brightside.
All right. Of both of you, who's the most stubborn? Megan.
Probably me. I don't know.
I would
Delaynie?
say I'm probably more stubborn. I don't know. We're both not very stubborn.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Favorite place to be, Megan?
Hermosa Beach. I really love it there.
All right. Delaynie?
I would almost say Hermosa Beach as well. It's always happy times there.
Oh, okay. What has been your least favorite class this last year, Megan?
Government.
All right. Delaney?
Government. I didn't like government.
Favorite kind of food, Megan?
Anything like pasta and chicken.
All right. Delaney?
So we're kind of the same person because we're pasta and chicken.
Easy to pack for you guys on a trip, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your go-to app at the moment, Megan?
Instagram.
All right.
Probably Spotify.
Oh,
Probably listen
okay.
to a lot of music.
All right. Besides each other, who would be your dream partner to play with on the AVP or FIVB tour, Megan?
Ooh. Sarah Hughes.
Oh, SC.
Oof, that's hard. I would probably say, oh my goodness. That's really hard. I don't know. I would honestly, even though I'm a
Not
defender.
if you want to block the whole time.
I don't want to block. I would probably say Alex Kleinman just because she's pretty amazing blocker.
All right. What is your favorite team or person to play against, Megan?
Ooh.
I almost want to ask why, though, but
Okay, I really enjoy playing against Fallon Fanoy Moana because she's super fiery and she's a really great blocker too. So it makes you definitely have to think how to beat her. But she's also been like so nice to us. Like she's kind of like our second mom, honestly. So she's really fun to play against and super fun to compete against.
cool. Delaney?
I would probably say Molly Turner. We get to practice with her a few times, and she's super fiery, just like Fallon. And so she's fun to play against, and she also really tests our defense because she always finds ways to put the ball down. So I would probably say Molly.
All right. If you had $1 million and or won the California Lotto, I would fill in the blank, Megan.
I would buy a Porsche.
All right. Delaney?
I would probably buy my parents their dream house.
Oh, very nice of you. Of the two of you, who's most likely to get arrested, Megan?
Probably Delaney. Yeah.
Delaney's like, it's you. What do you mean, Megan?
Probably me.
Consensus. If you could have any design or image on your face covering, what would that be or who would that be? You know, since they're all required now in social settings.
I I think like a little USC fight on would be cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a really weird thing for sloths, so mine would probably be little sloths. If you couldn't tell from my background.
I was appreciating that when we first got on.
Yeah.
All right. It's your last bottle of sanitizer. Who would you give it to, Megan?
I would give it to my brother because he doesn't sanitize very well.
You, Delaney.
I would probably give it to probably my dad because he also doesn't really sanitize well.
The not so well sanitizing club.
Yeah.
Hey everyone. Again, this is Delaney Maple and Meg Kraft of USC Beach. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the Viral Volley Podcast here and also on volleyballmag.com. Ladies, thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to following you here in the near future and when we're all back on the sand again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
So fun.